everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ken Napzok, and we're going to do two of my favorite things. Relax, 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 and open up baseball cards. Well, maybe some football cards too. We'll see what we got. I have in front of me some random packs from years gone by. 1991 Topps baseball cards. Perhaps we can instantly win and maybe go to the 1992 spring training. We have some 87 Topps, classic year, the wood grain border. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get an Eric Davis or Dwight Gooden. Doc, if you're cool. Oh, it's already a little bit open there. Ooh, that's a sneak open. We'll see if we open up that one. Now a little bit into the new age of baseball cards. 1990 Upper Deck. For those of you who were collecting baseball cards or sports cards of any kind during this era, this, along with the, of course, 89 Upper Deck, are the cards that changed the industry. We'll see if that's going to be what we open. Same era, 89, Score. I was a big fan of Score. Of course, their first year was 1988. As a young baseball fan and collector, I enjoyed the photo quality cards. As you know, a lot of the cards, like the 87 Topps and all the years prior to Score, the photos were not the best. The ability to print cards started to get really noticeably great. Or better. Great's a relative term. 88 Score is one of my favorites. 89 Score. What's in there? Maybe a Bo Jackson, a Jose Canseco, following his 40-40 season. We'll see. We got Fleer. 1992 Fleer. You might be able to pick up a Fleer All-Star, a Provision Art card. Who doesn't want a Provision Art card? And Superstar Specials. I'm also interested in the and more. Oh, we can get Roger Clemens career highlights. That card collection really stood the test of time. But we're not here to make comments on what players did with their careers. We're just here to make comments on the cards. That said, come on, Roger. Fleer was, prior to Upper Deck, I think, the upper echelon of cards. Topps, of course, is the mainstay. Topps is the name brand that everyone kind of generally associates with card collecting. But Fleer, which came on the scene mid-'80s, early 80s, at least for me as a young collector, is where I remember kind of heading to the store and hoping I had enough allowance money to pick up some Fleer or Donruss. Donruss was like the next level up. If you didn't have enough allowance, you could definitely pick up some Topps cards. If you did a little more chores around the house, Donruss definitely was on your list. Because who didn't want puzzle and cards? This one featuring Stan Musial. Here we go. 88 Score. Remember, 88 Score came along and promised tamper-proof packaging. Because what little Kenny, that's me, and others didn't realize is that during the heyday of baseball card collecting, the mid-'80s boom, and that is the era in which I started to get into collecting as a young, impressionable baseball fan. Many, as you can see, many shop owners around the country, and who knows the world, though this seems like it might have been centralized to the greedy card owners of our country over here in the United States. I'm not making a sweeping judgment. I guess I kind of am. It turns out many card owners found a way to open the packs, take the cards that they wanted from them, put other cards back in, reseal the packs, and sell them to kids like me. They, of course, would then take the higher price cards, say from 1987, a Wally Joyner Gold Cup rookie card, and they'd sell it to me at a higher rate while selling me this pack for 50 cents. Because really for me at that age, and for many of you, it was 17 bubblegum cards with 17 opportunities to reach my dreams. Then came Score. And they promised tamper-proof packaging. That way, you could get a baseball superstar like Terry Steinbach. There was no risk of losing out on Terry Steinbach. We have a 90 Fleer set here. 90 Fleer. I don't actually remember a lot about 90 Fleer. I do remember 89 Fleer and the 88 Fleer. Of course, the 89 Fleer, I do believe, was the Billy Ripken card set. Fleer 10th anniversary edition. So Fleer really came on the scene about 1980. I remember really coveting 85 Fleer, which had the all blue border. They kind of kept with that kind of style and design, though the quality seemed to get worse and worse. So there today are our card choices. I'm tempted to go classic wood grain 87 tops, but I think in honor of all the praise I've heaped on it, you probably want to straighten that up, huh? Some of you watching are like, straighten up the cards. Just look at this. This is the dream of all kids during this era. A wide variety of cards to choose from. Look at all the this represents a lot of allowance money. So we're just going to open up a pack, and then I'm going to discuss the players in the pack and the memories associated with those players. Because I've heaped so much praise, I think it's only right if we open up the 88 Major League Baseball Score Collection, player cards, and trivia cards. And, of course, we'll celebrate that photo quality. So another day for these packs. We'll save the upper deck for another day. I'll get some 89 upper deck. I have over here, I was thinking about football earlier. I have a lot of football cards. Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Brown. This is Pro Set, the official NFL card. Rod Woodson, NFL Hall of Famer. Oh, and a random baseball player, Kevin Gross. We're not really concerned about the mint condition right now, are we? All right. Yeah, there's always a lot of hope associated with a new pack of cards. Which superstar would go into my collection? See, pack opens up nicely. Probably hard to reseal that. Though I gotta admit, as a young baseball card collector, you probably could have put Scotch tape on the back of this. And I still would have paid the 75 cents to $1.25. Big money back then for 88 score. I can't remember the exact price of 88 score. I just knew a lot more expensive than the tops. All right. We've got first up from the Houston Astros, Bill Doran. Billy Doran was once a top-of-the-line second baseman. I remember when he was traded to the Cincinnati Reds late, I do believe in the 89 or 90 season, in a deadline deal. This time, Astros were, of course, in the National League. You can see in the background there, Busch Stadium. Switch hitter, I do believe. Yes, bats, both. His 1987 season, remember that was a live ball kind of year. 16 home runs, 79 RBIs, and a .283 batting average. I do not know what his OPS or OPS plus or any of his exit velocity stats are. Doran. Next up, one of the best batting stances of all time. This taken at, looks like Old Tiger Stadium. Julio Franco, then of the Cleveland Ball Club, name retracted. Franco would play until he was 82 years of age, allegedly. Started with the Phillies in 1982, found his way to Cleveland. Eventually would go to the Texas Rangers, where he'd win the batting title, I believe, in 1990. Really one of the more memorable batting stances ever. And if you're like me, and I know you are, a lot of you would go to the playgrounds of your youths, and you will reenact these batting stances. Have your friends try to guess, who am I doing? Julio Franco was a favorite batting stance to mimic, but also, if you're trying to fool some friends, not going to go well. Julio Franco, tremendously memorable. Next up, we have one of my favorite players. I am a New York Yankee fan, so I enjoy Dave Winfield. Underrated design feature here. Just the little white border, little inset here. Just kind of framing the photo quality pictures. But in truth, I'm making fun, but at the time, score just seemed so crisp and clear. It really, really, really did. Dave Winfield, of course, Mr. May, famously called such by the late George Steinbrenner for his great performance early in the season, but how he would fail down the stretch and in the postseason. He was part of the 1981 Yankees World Series team that lost to the Dodgers, probably where he infuriated King George. He, of course, started his career straight out of college with the San Diego Padres in 1973. He would play there until 1980 and was one of the early big free agent signings in the game. Going to play with the Angels, where he was, I believe, traded for Mike Witt. And then, of course, would play for the Blue Jays when he'd get to the World Series. Dave Winfield. Also once killed a seagull with a thrown baseball. Next up, we have catcher for Cleveland. This photo taken looks like at the old Oakland Coliseum. I believe, maybe. Chris Bando, catcher, son of former Major Leaguer Sal Bando. I wanted to be a catcher in the Major Leagues when I was a young, foolish kid. So I enjoyed collecting catcher cards. I was very, very, very up on all the catchers of the day. Your Rick Sarones, your Joel Skinners, and of course, your Chris Bandos. Bando would not have a distinguished career, but played enough. Got some good service time. Here we go. Great baseball name. Moose Haas. Do not believe that was his Christian name. Moose Haas played most of his career with the Milwaukee Brewers when they were an American League ballpark. Was, I guess you would say, one of the best pitchers of his era. Not one, a household name, but when I started collecting cards and watching baseball around this time, the 86, 87, 88 seasons, Moose Haas was a name that garnered some respect. Number 30, the Oakland Athletics. Here's an interesting fact. He is a black belt in the Korean martial art of Taekwondo. He's also a talented amateur magician. I almost said magician. That would have been silly. I'm just so wowed by his skills, I can't even say the words. And he's a certified locksmith. This guy is a multi-hyphenate threat. Major league pitcher, black belt, magician, and locksmith. They don't make baseball players like Moose Haas anymore. I struggled to say the word magician, but I can say Steve Lombardozzi. Spring training shot at the Minnesota Twins. I do believe his son, also named Steve Lombardozzi, went on to play in the majors. Steve Lombardozzi, infielder for the Twins, would play on their World Series teams. He and Greg Gagne kind of hold down the middle of the infield for the Minnesota Twins during that era. Different time in baseball. Steve Lombardozzi, along with Buddy Biancalana and Mike Pagliarulo, are some of my favorite baseball names from this era. The area is the card. Steve Lombardozzi, Minnesota Twins. We've got ourselves a great moment in baseball card. A little flick, like a little sports flick card. Oh yes, this was promised. Player cards and trivia cards. Let's read this great moment. Great moments in baseball. Three River Stadium, April 18th, 1987. I haven't looked at it. I've just opened this pack. I'm going to guess that April 18th, 1987 was when Michael Jack Schmidt, third baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies, hit his 500th career home run. Every baseball player fan knows that. Schmidt hit that homer, clapped his hands, kind of did a little windmill with his hands. He was so excited. Let's see if I'm right. If I'm wrong, you all can make fun of me even more than you are already. Schmidt's 500th home run. Yes. What did that prove? Not much. Not much. He hit it off right-hander Don Robinson. Harry Callis with a great call. Late great Harry Callis. Returning to the player cards. That was the trivia cards. Jim Lindemann, first base. Lindemann was a up-and-coming player for the St. Louis Cardinals during this era, number 15, first baseman outfielder, first broke into the big leagues in 1986, 19 games, cup of coffee, as they say. But in 1987, he'd get more regular time. With Jack Clark injured, Jim Lindemann and the veteran Dan Dreesen would spend a lot of time at first base for the St. Louis Cardinals as they'd go all the way to the World Series to face Steve Lombardozzi's Minnesota Twins. Yes, kids, what I have right here is a World Series worthy card collection. Two superstars of the game, Steve Lombardozzi and Jim Lindemann. What I liked about Lindemann is he had the ability to do near splits at first base and would wow me, a young kid who could barely get off the couch without screaming, with his abilities during that 87 postseason run. I would try to act that out on the softball and baseball fields of my youth with no success. This is exciting. This next card is legitimately one of my favorite players. His name is Mike Fitzgerald. He's a catcher, first for the New York Mets. Finished his career, I believe, with the California Angels, but played a bulk of his career with the Montreal Expos. Mike Fitzgerald. What do the 3 stars indicate? Someone on the design team was like, all right, we have nice borders, we have this nice inset, the name, good font. We like our font, got our logo. What do we need on this side, the left side of the card? I don't know. 3 stars? Sounds good. Fitzgerald was actually traded for my favorite baseball player, Gary Carter. Gary Carter was on the Montreal Expos, and following the 1984 season, he was traded to the New York Mets. It was a big deal, a blockbuster deal at the time. I don't know if it's worthy of a trivia card, but it's big in my heart. Floyd Yeomans and I believe Hubie Brooks also went over in the deal. Fitzgerald was going to be maybe the catcher of the Expos' future, but he never really had an impact. By 1988, Nelson Santavina would join the club and start taking away playing time from Fitzgerald. But Fitzgerald was a solid backstop, was a okay hitter, probably wouldn't be considered great compared to the stats and the approach of the game now, but back then was good for a 1-for-4 day with a double. I did see him play. I am Los Angeles, Southern California based, born and raised in the Central Coast of California, which is right between Giants, A's, and Dodger Angel country. And we'd go down and see a lot of Dodger games, and I did see the Expos play the Dodgers in 1989, and Fitzgerald was in that game, and Fitzgerald did go 1-for-4 with a double. Clearly, one of the thrills of my life. Almost done with the player cards. Next up is Jose Guzman, pitcher here for the Texas Rangers. Yeah. There's just some players you don't really remember. I could tell you what Mike Fitzgerald ate for lunch in 1989. Don't remember much from Jose Guzman. Much respect, though. Rob Woodward, pitcher, Boston Red Sox. Good leg kick. That is El Duque quality leg kick. I do like the green border cards. We'll do a comparison. Woodward. I don't remember much of him. I do remember him in this time, but I don't remember his career much after this. He had a good breaking ball, according to the encyclopedia and biography that Score would put on the back of their cards. I loved this also was pretty exciting as a baseball card collecting fan. We'd go from Topps, which probably had like one maybe complete sentence about a player. With Topps, you would only know that Moose Haas was a black belt in Taekwondo, but it took Score to make it known that Moose Haas was also a locksmith and a magician. Ken Howell, Dodger pitcher. Had a good enough career. Not necessarily noteworthy to anyone outside of the 80s, but a good, serviceable relief pitcher for the Dodgers. This is his 88 score, so it will reflect the 1987 season. But I do think he would stay with the club for the 88 World Series campaign. The last time the Dodgers won the World Series until, of course, this last season. Stop the presses. We got ourselves a bona fide superstar. George Bell. George Bell, left fielder for the Toronto Blue Jays. He, along with Lloyd Mosby and Jesse Barfield, formed one of the best outfields in baseball in the mid to late 80s. George Bell, this card right here was a big card because he was coming off an MVP season. The old exhibition stadium right here. Bell, this big, long swing that he would always take, hit 47 home runs in 1987. He had previously hit 31, 28, and 26 in his first 3 full seasons with the Blue Jays. They, of course, made the playoffs in 85. He was a key contributor to that team. But 1987, he went crazy. 47 home runs, 134 RBIs, batting average of 308, scored 111 runs to boot, would take home the American League MVP honors. Blue Jays, of course, would not get to the postseason in 1987. The Tigers, with superstars like Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell, and Matt Noakes. That's right, I said Matt Noakes. Would make the American League Championship Series against the Minnesota Twins. But Bell would take home the MVP award. This card, pulling this from a 1980 score pack, would get you a lot of cool points on the playground. A couple more cards left. We got an all-star here, John Franco. Cincinnati Reds would go on to close for the New York Mets. Had a really good career. I would call him one of the preeminent closers of this era, back when that designation closer was relatively new. It had definitely been around. Bruce Sutter, Raleigh Fingers were some of the guys that were the early great closers of the day. Dan Quisenberry, the late Dan Quisenberry. But Franco was part of the new breed and seemed to be at the forefront of this new kind of special position. Dennis Eckersley was going strong in the American League as a fresh new closer after a long career as a starter. But Franco was absolutely bred for the role. Got a big contract with the Mets. And, well, like with a lot of things with the Mets, that worked out great. Walt Terrell. Love Walt Terrell. He ended up playing for my Yankees. I think we traded him for Tom Brookins. Oh, God, I love these baseball names. Terrell, Tigers. What more do you need to know? Let's see if I can move that one there. That's a special card. Jim Acker, who would go on to play a little bit with the Blue Jays. Atlanta Braves Baseball Club. Acker started his career with the Blue Jays. I think would return to them. Was with the 87 Atlanta Ball Club. Not a good team. I don't know if he was there for the 91 revival. This guy was going to be a superstar in my book. John Marzano, catcher, Boston Red Sox. Came up in 1987 after a great year at Pawtucket in AAA. Batted .244, 5 home runs, 24 RBIs in 52 ball games. I really thought the Red Sox had found someone to replace Rich Gedmond. Marzano's career, let's just say he didn't make any All-Star games. Final card of the pack. You can already see it. We'll make this our unofficial 17th player card compared to the one trivia card. Tamper-proof, huh? This is the late Dave Dravecky, pitcher, San Francisco Giants. A lot of you are probably familiar with this former Padre player who came over to the Giants in 1987. He was a great pitcher at the time. Big season in 1983. Great season in 84, which was the World Series year for the Padres, though they lost to the Tigers. 85, 86 for the Padres. Good years, low ERAs, 2.93 ERA and 3.07 ERA. But in 87, he found himself traded to the San Francisco Giants. I do believe Kevin Mitchell was part of that deal as well, but don't quote me on that. Dravecky would help take the Giants to the postseason, to the National League Championship Series, with Jeffrey One Flap Down Leonard, Will Nuschler Clark. And Dravecky was a well-respected man around baseball. He sadly would have cancer and would try to come back from it. And I do believe, and that year escapes me, it might have been 89, Dave Dravecky made his way back to Major League Baseball and took the mound and was seemingly again back and broke his arm mid-pitch. He eventually would have to have that pitching arm amputated, but he was a great ambassador for the game and again an all-around great guy around the sport. He would eventually pass away. So, all that to say, that's a sad story, but this card is one of my favorite cards, and I remember having this one. It was just a sad story, and it was hard to watch, but you can always find inspiration in those who continue to fight in the face of insurmountable odds. And that was Dravecky. So there's our pack of 88 score. Not that I'm going to run to a baseball card shop and try to sell back. Might try to start a fire pit fire with these. Except for Mike Fitzgerald. Man, he was one of my favorites. I don't really know why. I just like catchers. I mean, you might need to frame Moose Haas. Name me another Major League pitcher who was also a certified locksmith. So there you have it, our 1988 score. Now, of all the designs, of all the colors, which were your favorite? I'm not a Vegas blackjack dealer. I was always partial to the green. The red was great. This is kind of the color, this orange, sunburnt orange that I associate mostly with the score line from 88. But really, the green, the red, To me, they all look like little baseball posters that you'd hang on your wall. Like me and the Jose Canseco 40-40 memorial poster that I know I had, along with a lot of you out there. Don't deny it. There's our trivia card. I don't know if these trivia cards are good for the environment. I won't throw this in a fire. Who knows what will happen? Who knows what chemicals are in here? And, of course, the tamper-proof pack. All right. I hope you enjoyed the baseball cards, and I hope you enjoyed a little chance to relax. Bye. We'll see you next time.